Hi, I'm Chip Means, web editor for Healthcare IT News, and this is another tech review. And today Marcel Vachon from Us & Company Computers, our certified hardware junkie, is going to be reviewing the Panasonic Toughbook Mobile Clinical Assistant. And this is probably one of the more recognizable and visible pieces of clinical hardware, at least from a journalist perspective. So I'm excited to hear what Marcel made of his time using this.
Thank you very much, Chip. Just to give the hardware junkies out there a little bit of information, this unit is based on one of the first low-power Intel Atom processors. So it's extending the battery life that way. It's 1.8 gigahertz, which is a decent speed. It runs Windows XP Tablet Edition, even though the OEM little business piece back here says Vista Business. Currently, this one was loaded with XP Tablet Edition, so that was a nice surprise. It has a 10.4-inch dual touch display, which means you can use it either way, whether it's being a stylus like this, or you can use fingerprint touching for it. Now, the one thing I found about that is there are some things to make this a ruggedized computer. In other words, one that's made to take the daily abuse or the daily use of clinical or hospital, that kind of thing. In that they've done some coverings of certain ports, and they've also, in the case of the screen, they've actually put a film on this screen so that you can wipe this with an alcohol wipe, and it's not going to damage the screen like it normally would for an LCD. That's the good news, is it doesn't get damaged by the alcohol wipe or those kind of things, to be sanitized. But that means that extra film makes the tablet piece, both the fingerpoint touch and the stylus touch a little less responsive.
I found that too, and especially in comparison to the Fujitsu stylistic we looked at before, which is clearly the key feature of that is its
Absolutely.
Recognition, and this was a little bit less responsive.
Yeah, I found that the stylistic had a much more intuitive, the OCR, that recognizing my handwriting, I write, and someone said I should have been a doctor, but anyway, we won't go there. This Fujitsu was able to understand my handwriting very easily. This one took a little longer for it to recognize, a lot more of erasing, and that just may be a function of the device, or may more like be a function of the additional screen protector they have on here. The machine is 3.4 pounds, so it's not a terribly heavy machine, comparatively speaking to most mobiles out there. As you can see, it's got a spot for its stylus. It's got two handles on it, one on the top here, which is great taking out of the docking station. It also has a built-in camera right here, 2 megapixel camera, which works very well.
Yeah, I found it too. Also, yeah.
It has a rubber strap, as you can see, for putting your hand in, but we'll get to that in a moment. Now, there's things I liked about this. Well, the things I liked about it were that it has been ruggedized. It is set up for daily use. I can very easily picture this in an emergency room where someone comes in and they're grabbing it off a shelf somewhere and going over to see a patient. I can see that. It has built into it a barcode reader. So if your supplies and so on have been barcoded, it's in. That was a nice thing. Also has an RFD reader, and it also has a fingerprint scanner here. So if you've set it automatically to go to sleep after a certain amount of time, or after a certain amount of non-use, you can set it up so it'll scan back in that person's fingerprint and bring back. So you do have your security there for things like identity theft, stuff like that. Mm-hmm. It also has built-in the barcode reader. Actually is an optional feature, but I find it very, very easy to use, and I would recommend it. Has built-in Bluetooth, built-in wireless. The wireless range was pretty phenomenal. I was taking it from one location, and I went through my entire office building and out an attached building into the back, and still getting signal. Wow. It was pretty amazing. It has in it 2 batteries. They're hot swappable batteries. They're sealed, as you can see here, and they're relatively small. They're not terribly heavy. They don't add a lot of weight where a lot of batteries do. The nice thing about them is that they're dual swappable, and you don't have to shut the machine down. So if one battery is good, you can pull the other one out and swap it with a new. I thought that was a very nice idea. And then, like I said, they kept them small and easy to use. The docking station that this unit comes with has 2 spots in the back for 2 additional batteries. So you could be charging 2 batteries and really have 4 batteries going.
What did you think of the battery life?
I thought the battery life was pretty impressive. I got about 6, maybe 7 hours of it. I was really, using it and trying to do things with it. I'm sure that the batteries being brand new, that's, obviously they should be up there. But I think that the battery power management was really well done. It was hard to bring this thing down to totally dead batteries. In fact, we weren't able to get it down to a totally dead battery. And like I said, they're hot swappable. They snap in like this, and then they snap back over. As you can see, the unit here is sealed so that anything you have access to for batteries, whatever, you really have to push at them to get them off, which is a good thing. On the other end here, they've got, again, the other battery is on this side, so it's very easy to get it in and out. But then, as well, it has your DC in for regular power. This unit also set up, really, I find, it's set up to go with its docking station, because there's your docking station information, your connection, but then there's also your power connectors on here too. So it can charge in the docking station, which is probably what it's really designed for. There are no USB ports on here, which in some ways I would like to see, because if someone wants to put an additional keyboard or something to it. But what Panasonic, I guess, decided to do was to put those USB ports and Ethernet connection and video connection, all of those connectors are on the docking station. I mean, like I said, I can see this in clinical use. The things I didn't like about it was like what you found, Chip. The input, the stylus wasn't that accurate. I also found it to be a bit cumbersome and a bit slow as compared to like the Fujitsu. It may very well have been this protective coating kind of getting between us and the unit, which I can understand for the finger handwriting, but the stylus should be able to get through it. I found that the stylus wasn't calibrated correct. I tried calibrating it to get them, it was off a few pixels, but I did not try it long enough to see if that was a progressive issue or if it was just a one-time setting thing. I couldn't quite get that. The other thing that I didn't find that I liked about it, I mean, I like it's got this handle, great, it's rugged, set up, go. Didn't really like the back rubber handle. Yes, it's set up so your hands can go in here. Yes, it's got the hole for your knuckles to come through. So it's more comfortable there. This isn't so much comfortable. You're going to be carrying it like this. The uncomfortable piece I found was that, excuse me, when you're trying to do data entry on it, it's set up, you're going to either be bringing your elbow over you're bringing your hand over like this in order to be able to write on it properly, or you're going to be trying to write on it this way. There are function buttons in the front here, as you can see, A1, A2, and so on. This one activates the barcode, for example, so if I hit that for a second, my barcode's going to go off. But anyway, it allows you to, by pressing some of these function buttons, you'll see that you can actually move and orient the screen. So if you want to write this way, you can, although I wouldn't recommend it. Or you want to write that way. As an improvement, I would love to see this back somehow on a pivoting screen, something that either it pivots inside the unit so that you could adjust it for your hands, for your wrist being tired or whatever, or perhaps having some sort of just maybe physical adjustment that you can, not a pivot, but perhaps some way to mount this a little differently. That was the one thing I found was at 3.5 pounds or 3.4 pounds, you're carrying it all the time. You want to make it as comfortable as possible. Yes, you could hang on to it this way, and down at my side, it's not terrible. But let's face it, the thing you want to do the most is write on this, take down notes. And after an hour or two's use, my left wrist was killing me. It's something you can get used to, perhaps, but I'm not so sure. I think having some sort of way of pivoting this, I know they put a lot of time, and according to the specs, they had about 50 different designs of this hand strap. For the most part, it's good, but like I have a decent sized hand, and so you can see I'm grabbing onto the front piece here, and I've got my thumb on this, so it's solid. But if you've got smaller hands, I'm not sure how well they're going to carry over. Or if you've got any kind of wrist issues, people might be doing this instead with it, which then it gets a little,
a little flimsy that
way. So overall, I think it's an impressive unit. Overall, I think it being ruggedized and being ready to be sanitized is a great, good for a clinical environment. Couple of comfort things, but other than that, I think it was a decent value and an impressive machine.